This is the simplest way for women to kill their belly fat permanently. You've maybe tried to lose weight on your own, you've maybe regained it back, or you felt stuck. And I'm gonna show you how to simply kill your belly fat permanently and never have to regain that weight ever again. And I know these work because I've used it over the last decade as a medical doctor and a pro natural bodybuilder. I'm gonna show you exactly the step-by-step process, the nutrition, the training, the cardio, the mindset, and the recovery required for women to lose their belly fat. And this information is nowhere around, and if it is, it's not truthful. So I'm gonna expose what is required for women to simply kill their belly fat permanently. I was able to do this with my client that you're seeing on the screen, Sandra, in 5 simple steps. And this entire process helps Sandra cut her body fat percentage in half, going from 33% to 16% and dropping 50.6 pounds of fat in the process. And not only that, she lost more because she built muscle tissue as well, where she became a strong, confident woman. Just look at the smile on her face. And I know this works because I've used it on women of all ages. Look at example, one of my amazing clients, Kathy. And I'm gonna show you something interesting in the next 2 slides. The same 5 simple steps I applied with Kathy, and I've met her even in person here in Malaysia. And just listen to what she has to say.
Yes, I dropped the weight, but there's so much more to this program. Watching our girls succeed and the beyond confidence that our girls have right now at their young age, I wish I could have done that. And so
they have such a good foundation to build off of.
I mean, that's what this program did for our family.
But Kathy went from 133 pounds to 117, looking completely different and losing her belly fat. Not only that, Kathy's daughters both joined Sculpt by Science. Liz went from 180 to 157, and Isabel, both her daughters, using these 5 simple steps that I'm gonna expose fully with you, going from 155 to 131. Not only the mom and the daughters went through this, so did my client Trish. And she did this program with her husband, and they both look completely different in just 16 weeks, 143 pounds to 118. My wife followed this exact protocol. I coached her through this entire process. And something massive, the 4th point, is going to be about mindset. And this is so important because the information that women are consuming is male dominant, not setting the right expectations. And that's why 93% of women never lose their weight. So gentlemen, this is equally important for you because either your wife, your mom, your sister, or your grandma, or some female in your life will need this help. And my sisters use this, and not only that, my mom. We dropped 40 pounds in the process doing this. But the main reason I put my mom through this 5-step protocol is my mom had metabolic syndrome, meaning she had 80% chance increase in a cardiovascular risk. Her cholesterol was through the roof. She was diabetic. My mom's waist size was way too high. Her bad cholesterol was super high, amongst many things. So I'm gonna show you the exact 5 simple steps. But you're asking, Dr. Mike, why is it so different for men and women to lose fat? Is because we're not on the same playing field. We have major differences between men and women, and the simple difference is our sex. And to be more specific, on the hormonal level, men and women have a difference in what hormones are being expressed. The hormonal profile of a woman is high estrogen, high progesterone, and low testosterone. And for men, it's the complete opposite: high testosterone, low estrogen, and low progesterone. And the note and the influence of this is that men have more muscle tissue, a larger engine size to burn more. The fat distribution is completely different, and the bone density. And why I share this is not to discourage you, but to set the right expectations so that you know you're going through the journey the right way. What I'm seeing a lot is women tend to give up because they think, hey, I need to lose the 2 pounds, or I need to lose the weight fast. As a result of this hormonal profile, we see an influence on women's physical build, right? So women have a higher body fat percentage in the range of 25 to 31% compared to 18 to 24, right? And they also have less muscle tissue. And the main driver for this is testosterone. This is why it's so different. You know, when your husband says, hey, you know, why aren't you losing weight as quick as I am? The big difference is testosterone and muscle tissue. These are your main engine components. On top of that, why women have a struggle, and I'm sharing this information so we can manipulate the science in women's advantage. Women also go through a menstrual cycle. The term menstrual comes from the Latin word month, reflecting the approximate 28-day cycle that women experience from puberty until menopause. And there's a sequence of events that prepares the body for possible pregnancy, right? And for women, it can be variable. It can be as short as 21 days and as long as 35 days. I also want to put this caveat that women are all interdependent, meaning what may apply for one lady may not apply for the other. Some women may have PMS symptoms, some may never experience it. Some may have a very tough time during their menstrual cycle, and like my wife, just never feels anything. Why this is important is that there are two main phases in a woman's menstrual cycle, and I'm gonna show you how to manipulate this so that you can achieve the best fat loss possible. So let's dive in, right? So follicular phase and luteal phase. Now, I just wanna show this. Follicular phase is from day 1 of bleeding, right? That's how we count day 1, and the way you need to look at it, it's not linear, it's actually a loop, right? So day 1 of bleeding, we're now in follicular phase, and that's from day 1 roughly until day 14. Some women can experience it on day 11, ovulation, or sometimes as long as day 17 when they experience ovulation. And then luteal phase, for the sake of this video, we'll say is from day 14 until day 28. And what I want to show you guys here is that hormones are fluctuating dramatically during this period, which will influence your ability to lose fat. We've spoken about estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. We are only going to focus on 2 hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone, that women need to focus on. What I want you to see here is that we have our estradiol, our estrogen, peaking in the first 2 weeks, and then you get a lower peak in the second week, and progesterone peaks in the second phase, right? This dotted line here. The first step for women is to get into a perfect deficit. And please continue watching, because I'm gonna show you and I'm gonna share with you the common mistake I see women make all the time and how to avoid it, right? And there's a mantra at Sculpt by Science that all my ladies share is trust the process, and I'm going to explain why. When you're going through a dieting phase, these are the changes. In the follicular phase, right, I talked about estrogen is high and testosterone for women peaks near ovulation. And on the complete opposite end, progesterone and estrogen peak, then drop, and testosterone is lower. But let's see how that affects your fat loss. Insulin sensitivity is higher, so it means your body favors using carbs as a source of energy over fat. In the luteal phase, it's harder. Your insulin sensitivity drops, your body burns more fat, but cravings and bloatings increase. Metabolism. During the first 2 weeks from bleeding, it's stable or slightly lower, and the calories are normal. And in the luteal phase, you're burning about 100 to 300 extra calories per day due to progesterone. Adjust fat intake, and I'll show you guys how to do that. The diet in this period, it's higher carb is well tolerated because your insulin is working well. So your body can take carbs really well and put them into the muscles. And then the diet in the luteal phase from 15 to 28, we want to increase healthy fats and protein and lower carbs, because remember, insulin sensitivity drops, right? So again, for those who don't know what insulin is, insulin's main job is a storage hormone. It takes glucose in the carb simplest form and puts it into the muscle. Remember, women's bloating is minimal in the first 2 weeks, so lower progesterone means less water retention. And remember, ladies, you see more bloating in the last 2 weeks. So you'll notice that leading up to your period, you're retaining a lot more water. Mood, generally higher. You're more driven for intense sessions, so you can train a lot stronger in the first 2 weeks. And usually your energy can dip in the last 2 weeks. Energy. In the first 2 weeks, it is higher energy, better recovery due to estrogen, right? And then in luteal phase, energy may dip. So now that you know this information, and I'm just even gonna make my face a little small, ladies, take a screenshot of this, because the goal is for you to say, hey, this is actually me or not. And now you will have a better understanding of your body, allowing you to manipulate it accordingly. So you can start your perfect deficit in the luteal phase or in the follicular phase. It doesn't matter, as long as you set the right expectations and say, hey, my training isn't the best. Just know, hey, just push through. We need to optimize your caloric intake accordingly. And I'm gonna show you the exact way to calculate your calories so that you can burn this fat off. And I have a story to share that you're gonna have such a beautiful aha moment. So we're gonna use my client Sandra as an example, and this process that I'm gonna share with you got Sandra to 155 pounds. So we're gonna go to sculptbyscience.com, find Precision Macro Calculator. And at Precision Macro Calculator, it's going to take you right here. And now I'm going to give you Sandra's example. So Sandra's 38 years old and she's a female, and her weight, and what's cool here, you can just toggle in pounds. When Sandra started with me, she was 207 pounds and her height was 5, and I'm gonna put this here as 5'7". And you can already start seeing what her calories are at maintenance. Sandra was training 5 times per week, so I consider her moderately active. If you're a lady and you plan on training 3 times per week, I would say come to lightly active. 4 times, lightly active. 5 times, I consider you moderately active. So she was training 5 times a week. And Sandra's goal was to lose weight. So I established a 20% caloric deficit. I wanted her to eat 1 gram of protein per pound. I left her carbs here at 30%. You can do slightly higher, there's no harm. But what I wanted to show you first is Sandra had to eat 2,048 calories. And this is the common mistake women make. They calculate the calories and they decide that's so much food, it's way too much, I'm gonna get fat. No, you want to eat according to the science. And I'll share Sandra's story of what she experienced eating this food. But according to the science, it says that she's going to drop 1 pound per week, which is ideal for her. This is great for Sandra. So her macros came out to be 207 grams of protein, 47 grams of fat, and 207 grams of carbs. So this is for her follicular phase, right? Her insulin sensitivity is great. Now, remember, in her luteal phase, her body doesn't use carbohydrates as efficiently. So it's okay to maybe drag this a little higher. Let's say maybe to the 45 grams where you're eating a little less carbs, but more fats. This will help you, maintain the satiety. Usually you'll have cravings, and this is why women say they love chocolate, right? They have a little bit more fat in there. Sandra, when she started with us and we gave her 2,048, her weight actually went up. Remember I said she started at 206, but something that's so common for women is that they don't have as much muscle tissue. And for the first time, 3 things happen. Number 1 is the first time they're eating the right amount of protein, so their body's able to build muscle. For the first time, when you're doing a program correctly, you're also able to build muscle through the training program because you're causing the right stimulation to the muscle tissue. And then on top of that, you're moving more, so your metabolism is a little bit more active. And this is what happened to Sandra. This is the truth. Sandra, in the next 4 weeks, went back from 208 to 206. I said, okay, awesome. Her body adapted to all the macros she was eating. But what was interesting is that after 4 weeks, Sandra saw no change on the weight scale. And have a listen to what she had to say.
Why was that we were doing so many things, but there was just no weight change in the first 4 to 5 weeks?
It didn't want to go. It was being stubborn.
Yeah. Have you noticed with all our ladies in the group that actually happens to them too?
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I haven't seen anything and it's been 5 weeks.
And that's the magic number, 5 weeks, and then you start seeing progress.
Now, ladies, why this happens a lot of the time is in the first 4 weeks. I see this all the time. You go through body recomposition. You actually build muscle and you're losing fat at the same time. So I could see that Sandra's photos look better, right? You can see that she didn't look as bloated, and her stomach, if you just pay attention to her stomach, it looked a little leaner here, but there was no weight change. And a lot of the times for you ladies, because it's hard to judge for yourself, you're actually building muscle and losing fat at the same time. That being said, after about 4 weeks, when she's gone through an adaptive phase, I then like making an aggressive caloric deficit. And my aggressive state is more, for guys, it's 200 calories. For ladies, it's about 150 calories. I reduced her calories by 100 to 150 in the first 4 weeks onwards. And I want to show you what this diet plan of hers looked like. As you can see here, we adjusted her macros macros, it came out to be 163 protein, 43 fats, 188 carbs, and she was at roughly 1,800. So I changed her calories by 200. We decided to have 4 meals, and I wanted foods that were great for her gut, but also allowed her to build muscle, but foods that she enjoyed. So for breakfast, a chocolate oat cake. Her first snack was a Greek yogurt and fruit. This was really healthy for her gut. She had a beefsteak tacos, something she could have with her husband, and grilled lime chicken. So I'm just gonna show you guys here, and you can literally just take screenshots of this plan. So just take a screenshot. This is her meal plan. Let me know if you guys want me to record a video of her actual meal plan in a full day of eating. Maybe leave the video the thumbs up or comment down below. Say, hey, Dr. Mike, would love to see a meal plan for the ladies. Meal 2 for her was the easy berry meal, right? And then we had the beef tacos. The macros are also here on the bottom of the screen if you guys are curious. And then she had a classic grilled lime chicken. Made her meals easy, repeatable, enjoyable, but also that was amazing for her blood work and her gut. And beautiful things started happening for Sandra, right? By week 9, she was down from the very peak 8 pounds, right? So her weight started flying off, right? Once we finally hit 1,800. What's also beautiful is that her metabolism adapted to eating that amount of food. So week 9, she got to 200 pounds, 199 week 10. She hit a new low weigh-in, and I want you guys to see how her body's adapting, and keep watching because I'm going to tell you the cardio and training she did too. And I kept her calories at 1,800 the whole time. So here she's at 193 pounds week 14. So I wanted to show you too, to have real expectations. It took her almost 4 months to go from 208 to 193. At week 16, after 4 months, she was still on the same calories. There was no change, but her weight was coming down because her metabolism was adapted. The secret I did that allowed her to lose weight by maintaining her calories is she had time, so she was happy to do steps. New low after a calorie reduction, we decided to go to 1750. And I'm showing you this so you see that you don't need to cut your calories so aggressively. And she lost 21 pounds so far, and we got her calories as low as 1,550. So the common mistake women make is that they see the calories, they say it's too much, and they've already lost the battle because they've decided it's too much. Where all Sandra did was go drop 500 calories from when we started, and she's dropped 21 pounds of fat. Sandra just saw amazing results. She's now at 180, 21% body fat. Week 30, 175 pounds, 170 pounds. At that point, we wanted her to take a diet break, recover her metabolism, and she was starting to feel the cravings. She was starting to feel hungry. So we wanted to take her back by 500 calories and start her from the top. 43 weeks, she's at 164 pounds, 17% body fat. Week 50, she's at 164.4 pounds, and she's seeing amazing change. At this period, and this happens as well, that your weight sometimes can get stagnant, but it doesn't mean that you're not losing weight. Sometimes your cortisol, your stress hormone increases, which causes water retention. And 164 pounds by January. And we kept on just playing around with calories by 100, 166, 167, 163, back into a caloric deficit. She's already in some new jeans. She's looking amazing, buying new gym clothes, but you'll see a difference in your clothing already, which is another great indicator. So that's another healthy thing of really not just paying attention to the calories and paying attention to the weight scale, but also how your clothing feels, right? 155.4 pounds, and you can see the confidence that Sandra has. And I want to share this opportunity. If you're a lady, you're at 40 years old. Why I say 40 is women go through menopause or perimenopause during this period. You've tried everything and you want to guarantee that you get to your result. I invite you to apply to work with us at Sculpt by Science. And I say this because our clients want to do their blood work. They want to know what's going on inside. They want to be healthy outside and inside. They've tried before, and you want to work with a team of doctors. At this very moment, we do have availability with our lady coaches, Dr. Zeno, our Chief Clinical Officer, Dr. Jessica. We have Dr. Penelope, my sister, who's also in there. I invite you to apply to work with us. We are a premium product. The reason for that is we're medical doctors. We're just the best in the world. Not to worry, if you don't want to do the coaching, that's perfectly fine, because everything I'm going to share with you, you can just do this, right? Let's move on into the perfect training. Now, this is a big difference with women as well, is their strength in the follicular phase is peaking, all right? Peak strength around ovulation, day 12 to 14. So that's the time you can go really heavy with your weights, power and endurance. In the luteal phase, strength slightly lower, progesterone can reduce neuromuscular efficiency, right? For training, it's best to use heavy weights in the first 1 to 2 weeks with intense workouts. And in your luteal phase, in the last 2 weeks leading up to bleeding, shift to more moderate strength and endurance, right? It's optimal for hypertrophy in the follicular phase. It's less effective in the luteal phase, but it still means you should train. And you can do high intensity cardio in the first 2 weeks of your menstrual cycle. So I'm gonna show you guys and share with you the training split on sculptbyscience.com. I want you just to go to resources. And if you click your downloadable performance tools, I have a training booklet here for you. There's a 3-day, 4-day, and a 5-day split just for ladies that you can download. It won't ask your email or anything like that. I just want to help as many women as possible. What I would appreciate is if you share this with someone who you think will see benefit from this. So just share the video and they'll know where to get everything, right? So there's a 5-day training split, but I'll share with you Sandra's training. And you can take screenshots of this if you want. So you can see all her training. So it says there, exercise 1, 2, right? It gives you the numbers, but also at the bottom, it tells you how many sets, right? So it's 3 sets of 12 reps. So it's all there. I'm just gonna share with you exactly what she did. Day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. Let's talk about cardio. Now, another massive thing with women that's different from men. Women are more sensitive to cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. So we don't want to spike cortisol because remember, women's main difference is that their body prepares for possible pregnancy every month. And if the stress is too high, your body goes in a panic mode because it's like, okay, we can't have any kids because the body's under stress. And when you do too much cardio, your body thinks that it's under threat. It thinks that it's being chased. So I'm going to show you the perfect cardio that women should do. And that cardio is typically broken into 2 formats. It's formal cardio. These are the weapons, right? And informal cardio. Informal cardio simply means walking. Most people don't even consider walking as a cardio tool because people think it's just too simple. And the average American is getting 3,000 to 4,000 steps, which isn't much. It's not a lot. So walking is going to be our main weapon. And I wanted to share with you, remember how I barely changed Sandra's calories? All we needed to do was get her to walk more. She had the energy, so she was averaging 14,000 to 15,000 steps daily. So the walking wasn't as stressful as running. And I see ladies run all the time, which is great for cardiovascular health. And my recommendation is first lose the weight so it's less stressful on the joints, and then increase your cardio output. But you can see here, Sandra was getting 18K, 15K, 20K steps, but she averaged 14 to 15,000. So I know the common objection is, Dr. Mike, that's so many steps. How do I get that? And I'm gonna give you the 10 commandments I share at Sculpt by Science with my business athletes. Stand up for the last 5 minutes of every hour and walk, right? So remember, 10 minutes of walking is equal to 1,000 steps. So let's say you work for 12 hours and you stand up for the last 5 minutes, 8:55 a.m., 9:55, all the way until 8:55 p.m. So that's 12 hours, 5 minutes times 12 is going to give you 60 minutes equals 6,000 steps just standing up for 5 minutes. Walk to the gym and back. So if your gym is 10 minutes away, it means you're gonna get 1,000 steps going to the gym and 1,000 steps back. Usually in a workout, you do about 20 sets, which means between every set, right, when you're taking a break in your workout, you take a break for 1 minute. Instead of sitting down, walk. So if you do that 20 times, that's equivalent to 20 minutes. That's 2,000 steps. As a warm up, instead of just going into the workout and stretching, walk 10 minutes as a warm up, or 15. That's 1,500 steps. And then maybe you want to cool down as a warm down. Walk another 15 minutes. That's another 3,000 steps. Take the stairs when you can. Park further away. Get an under the desk walking pad. They're like $200 on Amazon. Walk while you're on the phone. Wake up 30 minutes earlier, right? If you don't have too much time during the day, and walk in the evening with your family instead of watching Netflix. So now you have my commandments. And here's this is the walking pad I recommend. It's Urevo. I'm not sponsored, not affiliated, $199. The science is that if you can get 10,000 steps, and let's say Like Sandra, she was 207 pounds. Sandra was burning 500 calories just by walking. And this is why we didn't have to change her calories too much, because she was burning so much just by walking. Now, this is a cardio plan that you can just take a screenshot of informal cardio only. Get up to 8K every week, increase it by 500. It just shows you here that you can burn more calories, but just by walking a little bit more. And then we have formal cardio. When I talk about formal cardio, I'm really talking about using a machine. So this is elliptical, this is biking, this is running on a treadmill, this is Stairmaster, which is my personal favorite. And I want to get between 120 beats to 140 beats. So formal cardio means you also have a target heart rate. So I wanted to show you a combination of informal plus formal cardio, like what a cardio routine looks like. So for the first 3 weeks, you just do steps, right? So no formal cardio. And then on week 4, you do 11,000 steps, but you do 3 sessions by 15, which means, let's say you decide, hey, Dr. Mike, I'm going to use the elliptical, which means 3 times in the week, 3 by 15 for 15 minutes, you should do cardio. I like 3 miles per hour. Depending on your fitness level, you can go from a 3% incline to a 7% incline. And this is another client of mine's cardio routine that I did for 17 weeks, and you can just take a screenshot of this. I just want as many ladies to finally know the truth. So how do we recover? Like, what's the best practices? Because when you recover, just think of it this way. You're putting oil into the engine so it can work more efficiently. So these are the best practices when it comes to recovery. In the follicular phase, you recover a lot better because estrogen reduces inflammation and aids repair. So you'll notice that you'll train and you'll feel great for the next day. But in luteal phase, you might train on a Monday and you might just be in pain, or you might not be ready to go or unmotivated to go in luteal phase. So this is super important as well. I hope this is helpful for you guys. I know my audience mainly isn't women, but if you guys just support the video, I will make so much more. Let me know also in the comments, Dr. Mike, make more of these and I'll gladly do it. Recovery affects every system of the body, the brain, the heart, your metabolism, reproductive system, your immune system. If you're not recovering well, all of these are compromised. I want to explain the science behind why recovery is so important. So we have a thing called our autonomic nervous system, which is basically all the things in our nervous system we don't have control over directly. So our pupils, sometimes the muscle tensing, we don't have real control over our heart rates, right? Our blood vessels, our cholesterol, our digestive system. Don't let this intimidate you. I'm gonna make a point. In our autonomic nervous system, we have 2 parts, right? It's the main part, and then it's broken up into 2 called our parasympathetic nervous system, relax and digest. And we have our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight. These 2 are influenced very heavily by cortisol, right? And sympathetic nervous system is active, fight or flight. This is where you're being chased by a lion and cortisol goes up. And we live in a world where cortisol is very high. We live in a very high stress state. But if you want to reduce your cortisol, you need to be on this opposite end of the spectrum. You need to be in a more rest and digest state, a more parasympathetic state. How we get our cortisol as low as possible so we can burn fat, build muscle, and have energy is these 5 things. Practice deep breathing. Engage in techniques like 4-7-8. Inhale 4 seconds, right? Hold it for 7 seconds, and then breathe out for 8 seconds. Incorporating yoga and stretching is amazing. Spending time in nature. You'll always notice that if you go out for walks, you'll feel so much more calm because you're putting your body in more of a rest and digest state. A warm bath with Epsom salts, and practicing journaling. Usually our brain is so fast, it thinks so quickly that it can become super stressful. But when you journal, it slows down your thoughts and it puts you more in a parasympathetic state. And that's why with meditating, you're just focused on one thing. It puts you more in a relaxed state. So it's important to recover. The app I use for all my clients is an app called Calm. So Calm is a meditation app that I've used, and I follow this course here. It's meditation guide. And this guy's Jeff Warren. This course saved my life. The next thing we want to focus on with recovery is also sleep. And I want to share a story with you. There's this research paper here, Influences of Sleep Restriction on Weight Loss Outcomes Associated with Calorie Restriction. This is why sleep is so important. So there's 2 groups of people. Group 1 was on a diet, right? Caloric restriction. And they had more hours of sleep, right? They slept normally. They slept 8 hours. Group 2 was on a caloric deficit. They were on the same diet, but they slept about an hour and a half less, right? Less hours of sleep. And the results were staggering. Both lost equal amounts of weight. By one group sleeping more and one sleeping less, they lost the same weight. But when they found out where that weight came from is the astonishing part. The group that slept more lost 80% of that weight from fat. And the group that just slept 1.5 hours less lost 85% of that weight all from muscle. So they lost the same weight, but the one group lost it all from muscle and the other one all from fat. And we don't want to lose muscle. And that's why some people notice that, hey, I'm losing weight, but I just don't look good still. And it's because you're losing muscle. So I share that with you to say why sleep is so important, because you get to oil your engine really well. And this is a technique that I use with all my clients. It's called 10-3-2-1. We're creatures of habit, and we need to have a habit in place so that we can sleep consistently and we can be predictive of how many hours we sleep. So 10 hours before bed, no more caffeine. 3 hours before bed, no more food and drinks. 2 hours before bed, no more work. 1 hour before bed, no more blue screens. If you must, I'll show you something you can wear to be able to, if you need to work really late. All right, and 0 hours, no more numbers of snoozes. And these are some supplements I recommend to my clients, especially very, very busy, stressed individuals. Apigenin can calm your brain down if you're thinking too quickly, I recommend. And magnesium L-threonate, magnesium bisglycinate, 300 to 400 milligrams. And remember when I said if you needed to see or look at a screen, using these blue light blocking glasses, they block the blue light that allow your body to produce melatonin, the sleepiness hormone. The final one is the perfect mindset. How you start is usually how you're gonna finish. And if you don't have a strong purpose for why you're gonna go through a transformation, you're gonna have a very hard time. And with my clients, the biggest difference I've seen is that when they have a strong why, and I wanna share with you actually the psychology behind it. So some of you may be familiar with the book Atomic Habits. This comes from there. There's 3 layers of behavior change. And as you go deeper into the layers, like an onion, the more important and the more effective it becomes. So people are usually concerned with outcomes, which is like the weight on the scale, you know, how much weight they lost. This is concerned with changing, losing weight, publishing a book, winning a championship. These are just final results. The people who get even better results are those who are focused on the process. It's concerned with changing your habits and systems, implementing a new gym routine, decluttering your desk for better workflow. But the one that has the biggest effect is when you change your identity. This is concerned with changing the beliefs, your worldview, how you feel about yourself, your self-image, your judgment about others, and your beliefs and assumptions. Another book that I love, Start With Why by Simon Sinek, had a similar chart. And the deepest effect was when people identified their identity and also their why, the purpose, cause, or belief that drives you. When Kathy joined the program, she wanted to be an example for her kids. So when you start this transformation, forget about the weight, forget about the weight scale. Think about why you're doing this. Is this for your husband? Is this for your kids? Maybe you want better respect in your workplace. And I want to use this opportunity. If you're a lady and you've lost the weight, what was your why? So just ask yourself, why are you doing it? And there's research behind this. The limbic brain is responsible for all feelings, behavior, and decision making. So when you can control your why, you can control your behavior, your feelings, and your decision making. I want to leave the video there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Share your story. What was your why? Do you agree with this? What worked for you? What didn't? And I hope this was motivating and helpful for somebody out there. If you guys want more women-based videos, let me know. And also, if you want to work with me and my team of doctors and you want a guaranteed result, you can apply at sculptbyscience.com. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.